Hello, everybody. Welcome to Writers with Purpose. I'm your host, Mel V's from Written Words Publishing. At Written Words Publishing, we envision a world where every storyteller, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to share their voice, shape narratives, and impact the world through the written word. So, if you value powerful storytelling, if you like reading, if you like writing, just do me a favor, like this video, follow this channel, follow this page, subscribe to this channel, share this video, share this podcast. We're audio too now, so shout out to the Apple Podcast listeners and the Spotify listeners. Yes, share this wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching it, all right? Because tonight we got a great guest for us tonight. Tonight's guest brings us a powerful fantasy journey that's deeper than it looks. Miren, the Prophecy of the Four, follows 14-year-old Emma Fellows, whose parents vanish without a trace, leaving behind only a mysterious necklace and a story about another world. When that world becomes real, Emma discovers she's part of a prophecy that could save or destroy everything, y'all. It's a story of identity, courage, and stepping into purpose even when you feel unqualified. Let's welcome the author of this great story to the stage with us. Welcome Auri Jones to the show. Auri Jones to the show today. How are you doing, Auri?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here and to talk with your audience and everyone who's listening about my book and just the author journey with it too. So I'm excited to be here.
Great, great. Well, tell us something about yourself and tell us the purpose for writing Myra. It sounds like a real great story.
Well, I'm very partial to the story myself, but I am. I guess the easiest thing to do. I'm first of all a husband and father of two. Been married to my wife. This is our 10th year. We're going for 10 right here, and excited about it. And I have two wonderful, lovely, and very energetic, highly energetic daughters, 6 and 4. I have Zoe and Noah, and they've been amazing and a huge inspiration for a lot of my writing, especially recently. So we live just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and loving the warm weather that is coming now. So I'm excited about that.
That is really great. Yeah. Welcome to the spring.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah. Well,
uh,
tell us the purpose for writing this story. This sounds like a real intriguing story.
right. So Myron actually randomly started back when we were living in Virginia and about 6 years ago. And the idea came from it while we were out in the woods. There's a huge park and lake that I used to kayak with friends and family on. And there's a part of the lake where it kind of goes through a bend and goes to the river, and you see this huge house, huge house. And it's like a mansion. And I remember just sitting in the water, looking at that mansion, and thinking like, wow, I can like picture and imagine like the journey of like finding this place and like maybe like finding a portal to a new world. And kind of at that time as well is when I was kind of journeying with my wife into parenthood. Like our first daughter was born, and there's a lot of changes. Of course, 2020, there was a lot of changes in general, right? And so this is about the time when I started kind of like crafting the story and really thinking about um like the stories of people that I've been connected with and been around. And a lot of it had to do with like calling and purpose, and especially in the world that we live in today, and the levels of life that kind of hit us. I think calling and purpose is something that we all somewhat struggle with from time to time. And I just started writing this novel, which I thought was going to be a novel. It's really going to be a trilogy. Hint, hint. That's a little spoiler there. Um, but I started really like getting to know these characters and finding out their struggles and really learning about the struggles of people around me and all of these characters that I was able to kind of craft, but also just learn about at the same time, deal with that aspect in some sort of way. And so that's where the kind of like the journey came in. And I wanted to write a fantasy book because I knew fantasy was big, but also like I wanted to write a fantasy book, you know, and dive into a new world with a whole adventure that I think people would enjoy. And so that's kind of how everything started, and then it just
Mhm.
started to snowball after that.
That's great. That's great. Well, for those who are hearing about Myron for the first time, how would you describe that world that you created? Because it's awesome. That's one great thing about fantasy. There's no holds barred. You can do whatever you want. If you create another world on the planet Earth or another planet, another universe, people, anything, you can do whatever you want. It's just awesome. So yeah, what is the world of Myron like?
So Myron is truly a world of magic. It's a world of adventure, and it's very similar to our world in a lot of ways. But what fuels the people of Myron is purpose and calling. Everyone in Myron is gifted with three specific abilities and powers, and I'm not going to spoil too much for you guys, but they're gifted with those abilities, and those powers help Myron survive and help Myron flourish. And the whole purpose of Myron is to kind of battle and kind of like hold back a dark evil that wants to threaten not only kill Myron and destroy Myron, but also destroy our world as we know it. And so, without even really thinking about it, like that became a huge thing of like Myron has a purpose, has a calling, and even though they don't always see it, they kind of just like live in this. You get some characters who really start to understand like this, like our purpose for life and our purpose for living isn't just like random. Like there's a whole like purpose behind it. And so you will find a lot of descriptive aspects of like the country. It's a very vivid and natural like world. Again, there's a lot of aspects of like the good and evil battle that you will find in there. But it's fun. Like I've had people say that they read it and they can just like picture it, like just being there, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really great. If somebody can actually see what you wrote, if they can feel your character's emotions, I mean that's what you want your readers to get out of your writing, most definitely. Well, what challenged you the most while you were writing Myron? Was it like building the world, the characters, the emotions, the light, the dark? What was it?
Definitely the world building was a little bit more challenging than I thought, just because I was like, okay, well, I have to not only create this world, but it has to make sense, right? Like it can't just be like, even though we can kind of create whatever we want, it kind of has to make sense to the reader before they're like, this is a little too fantastical for me. And so that included drawing some maps and drawing some like rules to what Myron is and making sure that like that followed the entire story. And then probably the second part was the characters. I'm truly the type of person that focuses a lot on the characters. I write the characters for people, and then the story kind of just weaves in around that because people relate to the characters, right? I want a story to where it doesn't matter if you're reading it or any of your family are reading it or a friend reading it, they're going to relate to someone in that book.
Mm.
And so for that purpose, there isn't just like one main character. There's several main characters that you follow and don't feel slighted by if you're like in this storyline or that storyline. So those are the two things I really wanted to focus on, and hopefully, think I've accomplished like those being something that people connect with.
Cool. Well, which character would you say is your favorite character out of all those characters?
Oh. So I will have to say that there is a character. Her name is Laska, and I think a lot of people will grow to love her. She is very just like sassy and very courageous, very brave, very much like the go get 'em type person. And I like her because she's a main character that fuels another main character, and
Mm,
um, and I like it because she just like represents a number of people that I've known who are the type of people that kind of are always there to encourage always have that hopeful aspect, always there to, like, you know what, no matter what bad is happening, like we're gonna win. We're gonna fight. And so I love her positive personality, and just her caring aspect. So she's probably like top one right now.
Mm. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's always great to enjoy our characters, and I'm pretty sure it has to be someone in the book that you just are like, yeah, something really messed up happened to him. You're like, yeah, it's good for you.
Well, so and that's a big thing. Like this, like for most fantasy and stuff like that, you have like a good versus evil aspect. And the one thing that I wanted to fully work with is not having a distinct good versus evil. I wanted to have a lot of gray areas for these characters so that you might have a bad, like, this is the bad guy, but you also kind of understand where they're coming from, and you're kind of like, wow, I don't
Mhm.
hate them. And the same thing with the good characters. You're like, this one I'm rooting for, but also like, what are you doing? Like, because I feel like that's us, like in normal life. Like we aren't just like extremes. We have times where we're going to struggle with different things, and we're going to make the bad decisions, and we make good decisions. And I want people to see that that doesn't like denotate like their calling. It doesn't define like the fact that
Mhm.
they have a purpose, they have a calling, and that they can still fulfill that no matter what decisions and what paths and what things come up. So
That's great. That's great. So it's clear, it's very clear that you put a lot of attention into the details, into your story, into your characters, into the emotions that you actually want the readers to experience from reading your story. That is really awesome. So for the writers, any aspiring writers out there that's watching us right now who feel like they are unqualified to write this great story that they don't envision in their head, what would you say to them?
first of all, just write it. No, that's the big thing. Um, I've I don't know how many people are going to wind up reading Myron. It could be, millions, thousands. It could be like, hundreds, however many that be. And I don't know how many people are going to be impacted by it. But that's not for me to worry about, right? Like honestly, even if it impacted one person, who knows what that one person is going to go do? And that's the mentality that it should be. So your story, your book, your creation that you have to get it out, because you don't know who it's going to impact. You don't know how it's going to impact people. And again, if we're going to go back to the theme of the book too, like purpose and calling, if you're called to do it, it's your purpose. You're cheating not only yourself but others out of like reading your creation. So it's my
That
it's my
that
challenge.
that that's so true. That's so true. That sounds great. That's great advice. Y'all heed that. Heed that. You gotta answer your calling. You have to answer your calling, and don't try to please everybody because you cannot please everybody. Just do what you know. If when you finish writing that book, you feel like you have accomplished what you set out to accomplish, you accomplished
Mhm.
it.
So true.
Yes, let's take a look at your cover here and let everybody know where they could go and purchase your book.
Yes. So Myron, the Prophecy of the Four. Again, it's the first book in a trilogy, and the dark figure that you see on there is one of the characters. I'm not going to tell you which one it is because I've had some like people guess, and they could be right, they could be wrong. But you are able to get it wherever books are sold, as far as like Amazon, Barnes and Noble. If you type it in, you can get it in some international areas as well. The audiobook is available wherever you get your audiobooks. If you have it on Spotify, if you have on Audible, Google Play, any of that. And then, of course, the ebook is available as well. And so if you type that in, Myron the Prophecy of Four, it's going to come up. There's plenty of places to get it and enjoy it, and be ready for the next edition, or the next part of the trilogy to
Book
be
two.
released sometime at
Yeah.
the end of this year.
What you say? I was going to ask you what type of timeline are you looking at? You say sometime towards the end of the year.
That is my push. Now that I have the world building took a long time. So now that I know what the world is like, it is. I'm pushing for the end of this year to have it done, and I've already started it. it is a doozy. Let me just tell you, like I I write not knowing the end in mind, like fully. So I'm reading
Mhm.
it really as I'm writing it, and there's times when I've been writing, I'm like, oh my goodness, they're like, So this was one of those where I was just like, people are not going to expect what is coming.
So I mean, I know you say you originally planned for it to be one story. So you got to what you thought was the end, and then realized there was no end in sight. And then is that when you decided to turn it? Like, what flipped it from one book to a trilogy?
I realized that there was so much of it, like of the journey that couldn't just be put into one book.
Mhm.
Um, there like And if you read Myron, I've had people say like they forget that it's only one book just reading that first book, because there's a lot packed into it. There's twists, there's turns. It's a lot, but I realized that I would be cheating my characters if I just like ended their journey after one book. Like there's so much development, so much growth that I believe others will be impacted by if we continue it a little bit longer.
Okay, okay, that's awesome. That's awesome, y'all. Well, you all go out there and check out Myron, the Prophecy of Four. It sounds like an awesome story. It sounds like a world that we may want to be in. I don't know if you watch it and drop it in the chat. If it sounds like Myron is a place that you would want to live, it sounds like the whole atmosphere might be. I don't know. But then we haven't been there yet. You might read the story and be like, yeah, no.
No.
Sometimes it looks good. It sounds good. But then, no. I don't know. Y'all gonna have to get the book and find out.
So true. So
All
true.
right, all right. Well, we want to thank you for coming on the show, Ari, and yeah, we're looking forward to the remainder of the trilogy, and then you're probably going to end up doing even more than that because you sound like you are an extremely creative minded individual. Like, do you see another series like separate from Myron swarming around in there?
There's one that is itching to get out, and I'm
Yeah.
pausing on it, but it's a thriller,
Mm.
and I'm a very much the type of person that likes to keep people on their toes with thrillers. So yeah, Myron is just gonna warm me up for that one for
Okay,
sure.
cool. All right, y'all. All right. All right. Well, we want to thank Ari for being a guest on our show today. And we want to thank everybody for watching the show today. And yeah. I'm sorry. I just had to take an extra step there because I don't know what happened to my producer. Maybe he fell asleep or something. Y'all be careful when you hire
Well, I thank you for
people.
having me on the show. I appreciate being on here, and I'll let you know when the next book comes out too, for sure.
Awesome. Yes, you can definitely come back because we're here. Any authors out there, if you would like to be a guest on Writers with Purpose, hit me up. We would love to have you on our show. Yes, 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 yes. You all have a great weekend, and we will see you on the next show. Bye, everybody.